Hey there, as many of you know, Soraka was nerfed in patch 4.8, and it was completely directed at her mid laning. Riot seemed to view her mid laning as unhealthy, and to be honest, I would agree. So I decided to take a look at what makes Soraka strong, how the nerfs affected that, and if she's still a good mid laner anymore. So it came as a surprise to a lot of people, including myself, that Soraka became a popular mid laner. It was first played by High from Cloud9, and basically she had a lot of wave clear and poke, especially with free harass from her E since it didn't cost any mana when you use it on an enemy, and she had a lot of utility into the late game. She could also be played as a lane bully in most matchups because she had constant harass that was hard to respond to, and just heals, so that made her a lot harder to kill, especially with the heal summoner spell, which completely amplified everything because it made her a lot harder to kill, and you can't even use healing debuffs because you can just heal it off. Obviously that's been nerfed now, so that'd be like a sneaky nerf to Soraka, nerfing summoner heal so it no longer removes grievous wounds, so you can't just remove it as soon as it happens and then have your heals go at full power. That's just the same. So the nerfs to Soraka, I'll first go over the nerf to her E, which made it so that it now costs 50 mana at all levels when cast on an enemy. This means that you don't have any free harass anymore. At the very least, you'll have to use mana to harass the enemy. And, I mean, it's not a huge nerf, of course. You'll definitely feel it, but that alone wouldn't have removed her. What is much more impactful is the nerf to her Q, Star Call. So Star Call, if you don't know, is just an AoE damage ability. It damages every single target in a certain range around you, and it lowers their MR as well, and it's stacking. So the more you use it, the more damage it'll do because the enemy will have less MR. So at rank 1, they reduce the damage from 60 to 40, and then at rank 5, the damage is from 200 to 140. And it's actually a really big nerf. Like, you can definitely feel it in lane, because you do a lot less damage. It's a lot harder to bully people out now, and you'll run out of mana before you get too much down, assuming that you're having to heal as well. So, I mean, yeah, they made the cooldown. Okay, so they did give it a small buff, and that's that when Starclaw hits an enemy, it reduces the cooldown on our heal. And before, it scaled up to 10% cooldown reduction. Now it scales up to 17% cooldown reduction. But it's still not very helpful because your heal costs so much mana that it's not practical to use off cooldown anyways. And so even with that little buff, the damage nerf is still way too strong. And maybe it'll be a little bit of a buff late game because you'll be able to heal more often, so you'll be able to use your utility more often. But I don't think the damage trade-off is worth it, especially since Soraka doesn't build that much AP usually. A lot of Sorakas will build things like Frozen Heart and either a Banshees or a Spirit Visage, and it makes it so that you can't rely on the scaling damage on your Q either, because it's just not that good to build pure AP on Soraka. So you'll end up doing a lot less damage, and I think that with these nerfs, we won't really see Soraka anymore, especially in LCS once it hits patch 4.8. And I'm not a Soraka main or anything, but I did play a few games on her, and played her from time to time. As for Soraka support, there are a few changes. Now, barely any Soraka supports max Q earlier, but now definitely do not max Q anymore. It's not going to be worth it for the lane trading. A lot of supports max W or E, and if you max E, I mean, maybe it won't be so good now because it'll have a mana cost when you use it on enemies. So I would probably just stick to maxing W now. If you max W, nothing's changed. It's only changed if you max Q or E earlier. So that's about it, and thanks for watching. Hope these Soraka nerfs don't hurt you too much, but you'll probably be fine. See you later.